Hello YouTube, this is Brian Tubbs coming at you with another video. In this video I'll be doing a little bit of TIG welding on the bottom half of tipping point 3. In the last video I was just kind of showing you guys how it was put together, how I put the walls and everything up, how it was tacked together. I even went over the reason I'm making this piece. It's because the lady that bought tipping point 2 wanted a larger piece because a tree was cut down next to her garage, which made tipping point 2 look a little bit small, even though it's over 4 feet tall. So she wanted something that's around 6 feet tall. So this piece is going to be about 6 feet 2, 6 feet 3 inches tall. So just this lower portion is almost as large as the entire lower and upper portion on the last piece. In the last video also I was talking about making a donut to go on the top section of tipping point. So I came up with this piece. This is what a donut looks like. This is all stainless steel. I have to, grind it all down, and it'll be painted a burnt orange, and the rest of the piece will be stainless steel. So this is about, I don't know, 5.5, somewhere in there, diameter, and it's about 2.5 width-wise. So that's what I came up with as far as the donut is concerned. So like I said, now I just have to grind it down and clean it up and paint it a burnt orange after we put it on here. So today in this video I'm just going to be doing a little tack welding, a little TIG welding rather, just probably on the outer areas here, just trying to get this portion done first, and then I'll move on to the upper portion. And then, like I was saying, after I get the upper portion tigged, I have to open the bottom so I can mount this donut to the top piece through the underside, because we welded from underneath, so you can't see the weld. So that's kind of where I am right now for this video. And this video is going to be kind of short. It's not going to take long. I'm just going to do a little bit of tigging and just kind of take it from there. So what I'm going to do first is just put a few clamps on here, just to clamp it down, because I do not want it to twist too much. And I think I said in the last video, I don't mind it twisting some, because it doesn't have to be a completely straight piece. It just has to be, fairly straight for the most part. But if it was like the piece reaching, that has to be straight. Everything has to be straight in order for it to line up, and I slide the upper piece into the lower piece and do all the stuff that I do with reaching, so it has to be fairly straight. But a piece like this, a piece like stacks, the tall stacks doesn't have to be necessarily straight. It can have some roll to it, if you will, some twist to it, because the piece just kind of goes up in stacks and whatnot, so it really doesn't matter. But I want to keep this one as straight as I possibly can, so I'm going to just put some clamps on it, just kind of hold it in place a little bit. All right, so let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to clamp this portion, and this will just keep it from kind of rolling up this way from the heat. And then I'll take another clamp and I'll put it right somewhere around here to keep this from rolling up too much. And then I'll put a clamp on this side. So those are somewhat my critical areas. That top here and somewhere in here. And that should keep it from moving too much. And I'm not cranking down on the clamps. I'm just gently tightening them down just a little bit. I don't want to crank them. I don't want to, you know, bend the metal or anything like that. So it's just a gentle bend, or a gentle clamp rather. So all right, so what I'm gonna do is I'll just start from this corner and work my way this way. I'll weld a section, move, another section, just kind of move around. Let me get my gear on quick. My gloves. Put my Tig finger on. It's a flat finger actually, but same thing as a Tig finger, just to keep you from burning your hands on the piece after you've been welding it for a while. All right. And I'm using 3/32 309 stainless steel rod. Right now I'm at 95 amps and probably around, I don't know, 10 CFM on the gas. I'm not burning a lot of gas because I'm going to be grinding everything off anyway. All the welds will be pretty much ground off. So I'm not overly concerned about that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring the camera in a little bit closer so you guys can see exactly what it is I'm doing. All right, you won't be able to see me, but you will be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to start on this outer edge and just kind of work my way this way. I normally don't start in here because if I start welding in here, then I got to reach across this to get to that. So I'd rather start out here, weld all that up, and then I'll come in this section here because I'm not having to lean over the heat to get to this. So when you're welding, you just kind of think through stuff like that. So I'll weld some in here, then I'll do a little bit here, and just kind of move around some, just to keep the heat from being in one spot too long and causing this to want to warp. I don't want warping at all. All right. Get my pedals situated here. All right, here we go. Make sure I'm grounded. Kind of hard to see from this position being so far away. So I think I'm just stand up a little bit, get a little bit closer to it. I'm gonna grab a glove too and lay it here so I can lay my arm on it because it's kind of hot and humid out and I don't want to be sweating on this piece and mess around and get shocked. So let me go ahead and get this going.
there's just a little bit of a wall right there, just a little bit. And I'm using that, I'm using some of that metal to weld this in. Just run a few more tacks up here. I don't want this metal separating as I come toward it. All right. Here we go. It's kind of an awkward position to be in on this outer portion here. One of the problems I have, there's a red mark, a red line here, a trace line that I put on there with a marker when I was cutting this piece out, and I've seen that marker line, and I'm seeing the seam here. So I was kind of following that marker line, so now I got to go back out and make sure I'm catching that seam, or the, you know, the where it connects here. So if you notice, I'm not dabbing like this. I'm just going continuous. I dab, push the puddle a little bit, now dab. That would just save me time when it comes to grinding this weld down. I'm trying to keep my weld as low as possible. I don't want a lot of build up. If it was mild steel, wouldn't be a problem. I can build it up as high as I want because it grinds easily, but stainless doesn't grind as easy. So I'm kind of fusing it also. So I think I'll go to the next tack and I'll stop and move to a new location. I think I'll stop there. Then I'll just move further down the piece. Just let that heat kind of dissipate some. I don't want to build it up too high like I said earlier. So I'll probably go right in this section. I'll go from this tack and just kind of take it this way some. All right. It amazes me how when I'm TIG welding in the evening or at night, how many bugs I find on the piece or on the table when I raise my helmet up. They all come to the light, and then I guess their wings burn off and they just fall into the piece.
I wish there was a way to warn them, but I guess I can't. There's no way. So. So I'll dab and I'll go about maybe a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch forward before I dab again.
And my goal is not necessarily to drop dimes. My goal is just to get a good weld. When I'm moving the puddle, I want to see the front of that puddle going down into that little gap. I want to see it kind of rolling down in. That lets me know that it's penetrating, getting down in there. I'm not just welding just to get dimes, because that's not going to do anything if it's not welded, properly. So I'll go a little bit further forward here, and I'll go back. And when I come off my pedal, I'm coming out really slow and just allowing the torch to slowly ramp down. Because if you don't come off slow and you come off too fast, you will create a crater, which is a low spot at the end of your weld. It can even be a hole. And what that can cause is a crack. Later on down the road, it can cause a crack, which you don't want, because it just weakens the weld. My foot was on the pedal and I pushed it, and I was too far away, and I guess you guys saw it arc. All right, here we go. I'm just going to keep my eye ahead of the puddle. Just trying to see that line. What I'm doing also is I'm keeping most of my heat on this flat surface, and I'm pulling the metal from this vertical onto the flat surface. So I really don't need to use much filler wire, because I'm using this metal here to fuse it onto the flat surface. I'm just using a Tig wire or Tig rod just for just a little added strength. And I'm just watching that puddle roll kind of down into the seam, if you will. And that lets me know that I'm getting penetration. Just as I said just a minute ago, a poor little bug just flew into the heat zone. And there's nothing it can do. I think they're dead before they even hit the thing because of the heat. Right here. I'm gonna attach this remainder of this rod to my new rod, just so I'm not wasting rod. And the way I do it is I have the two separate rods. I'll butt them up together, put my foot on the pedal and go really low, and I'll blast it and come off. And we're right in the center point, right in the center of those two, where the two pieces come together. Hit your pedal gently and then blast it and then come off. And you'll see those two pieces weld together. That way you're saving your rod, you're not having to just throw it away because it got too short. I do it all the time. Okay, I'm gonna focus on this area now. I'll use this as a prop, just kind of prop my hand up, so I'm not having to just try and hold it up on my own. I was propping on this before, and I'm gonna use this to prop on. Just kind of weld this section in. Get my foot pedal out here. All right. And here we go. I think I'm gonna kick my heat up a little bit more because I have a little wall here. I'm gonna melt that wall in. Probably kick it about 120. So I want to use this little lip. I'm gonna use this little lip right here to melt onto this vertical surface, the flat surface. I want the vertical lip to melt into the flat surface, so I won't have to be dipping too much. I could have ground this down with my grinder, but I just didn't think about it, so I just melted in. When you TIG welding, you can do this, but if you're MIG welding, a little different. I don't have to add TIG rod at all. I'm just doing it just for the heck of it. It's kind of a habit. But I don't have to do it at all. I'm just fusing. Just fusing the vertical wall to the horizontal wall. That's what I'm doing actually. I'm applying most of my heat to the flat surface. and that vertical wall is just following the heat. And this is how you do it, guys. I'm going slow enough so I can see it flowing down into the joint. I'm not just pushing the puddle. I'm pushing it and allowing it to flow down like it's almost like it's like lava. Looks like volcano lava flowing down. That's what it looks like. As you guys see, I'm using that's a glove there that I can rest my arm on, my wrist on, because this piece is hot. You want to use everything you can and do everything you can to protect yourself from the heat. Move my clamp over just a little bit. And again, guys, this video is just showing you a little bit of my TIG technique, or TIG welding technique. I mean, nothing really special. Just telling you some of the things that I look out for, you know, like the puddle flowing in and that kind of thing. I'm not necessarily looking for dimes. I mean, I can run dimes, but it's not important for what I'm trying to do here now. I'm more focused on this thing being solidly welded. So when it's in the back of the trailer, traveling all over the place, going to shows and whatnot, it's not going to split, you know, welds crack or whatever. So I want this thing solidly welded. That's my focus. I think I'm gonna bring that camera in just a little bit tighter. All right, guys, I just wanted to just bring it a little bit tighter so you can see the action a little bit better. So you guys can see how bad I actually weld. All right, so here we go. And I want my puddle established in 3 seconds or less. I don't want to be waiting around. It's already up. Because if you're having to wait longer than 3 to 4 seconds, you're not hot enough. You're gonna have to hover around an area too long, which is going to add more heat to the area, and you have a better chance of thing warping. And I don't want that. So I'm gonna put an extra tack here because there's no tack in that section. I want my tacks to be fairly close. So I'm just running along. I dab, I run, dab, run, 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 dab, run, dab, dab. I run right there. Came off that pedal a little bit too fast, and I have a little crater here. I'm gonna fill that crater. So I do not want a crater. And oftentimes it'll turn into a pinhole. After you've been grinding, you'll see a pinhole, and it's from that crater. And if you're not sure what a crater is, it looks like a divot. It's almost like if you have a round weld hump. It's like someone took a small drill bit and drilled a hole through it, or almost drilled a hole through it. Sometimes the hole can be all the way through it. Sometimes you can just see the hole starting. And that's what a divot is. I mean, sometimes you'll have divots, as long as it doesn't go too deep, it might be okay. But I just like to try and eliminate all divots by coming up the pedal slowly, or if I get a divot, I'll heat it up again and run some extra rod, and I'll hit the rod on and I'll push the rod in and try and build that back up. All right. So I'm up. My pedal's already established. Letting it cool. My pre-flow on the gas is like 1.5. My post-flow is like 1.5. On my Lincoln Tig 200, the pre-flow is probably 6 or 7. The post-flow is about between 12 and 13. It just depends on what amperage you have. And I normally run that welder between 65 and 100 amps, and I'm getting 13, 14, 15 seconds of post flow. That thing burns through argon like crazy. That's why I don't use it much anymore. I use my Weld Pro because I can control all of that, the inputs and the outputs. All right, here we go. Again, I'll dip my rod, I'll push it forward about 1.5 inches, 3/4 of an inch, and I'll dip it again. But if I want it to run, dimes, a pretty pattern of dimes, I would dip it a little bit more often, like 1, I would just keep dipping. The dime pattern is there, but I'm running really hot. So if I come off my heat, you'll see the dime pattern. I can see it here. I can see the little rings going through, but I'm running hot because I want to burn this in. This is 11 gauge that I'm welding to 14, so I just want to just burn it in hot. All right, let me get this last little bit, guys. right, guys. So that's going to pretty much do it for this video. Again, I just wanted to just kind of show you guys, you know, how I kind of went through and TIG welded things up and what I do as far as clamping it down, and the reason why I clamp it down. I don't want it to twist, so I clamp it down. And when I'm welding, I want to see that weld go down into the seam or the joint. I don't want it to just be flowing across. I want to see it kind of roll down in that joint. So I just put enough heat in there, and I keep my speed to a point where I can see it flow in. I don't go too fast and don't go too slow because I don't build too much heat. I want to just be at a steady forward travel speed just to see that puddle flowing down as I'm going forward. The other thing is I wasn't concerned about, you know, dropping dimes. I was more concerned about getting good penetration. And those are the things I focus on, because when we move these pieces around, they're in the back of a trailer, and you know, they're being bumped around as we go down the road and whatnot. I mean, the trailer is new. It's only less than a year old, but still, you get a lot of bad roads, and these pieces are bouncing around in the trailer, and you don't want your piece to crack. You don't want to get to a show and you find out that your piece has cracked, or it's worse when somebody buys it at the show, or when they get it home and there's a crack in it. Now you got to go either pick it up, bring it back to your shop, or take some little small welder or whatever you need to do to get the thing fixed. So I just try and take care of all that stuff now, initially, with just welding it, you know, properly. I don't have to be at 120 amps to do this, but I was just trying to just burn it in as you know, as much as I possibly could. So I think that's going to do it for this video. And I think on the next video, which will be, I think it's part 4, I should just about have it together, and I'll either have you guys see me, you know, putting other pieces together on it, on this base, on this lower portion, something, or it could be the finished product. It'll be something concerning tipping point 3. But guys, I appreciate you tuning in, and hope to see you on the next one. And I'm going to tell you guys to go ahead and get out there and start making some stuff. If you don't have a welder, just buy a cheapo MIG welder. You don't have to have a TIG welder. You know, initially, you can start out with a MIG welder and just start banging out some stuff. If your welds are ugly, that's okay. They'll get pretty after a while. I've made a few videos on, I know I've made some on TIGging. I might have to make one on MIGging. I may have already done it, but and there's plenty other videos on MIGging that you can find, you know, on YouTube, like weld.com. They make some really good you know, welding videos. So it's not just me that's doing it. There's a lot of people out there doing it, but it's me primarily that's doing what I'm doing as far as showing you guys how these things are made. And this channel is more about showing you guys how to be successful in this business than it is how to weld some metal together. All right, guys. Well, I will see you on the next one. And as I always say, peace out.